Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today, we're going to be talking all about how those new room cards work. Ready? Let's get started. First up, and this actually took me an embarrassingly long time to realize, the rooms are split cards. This means that all the normal rules about how split cards behave when you're casting them and in other game zones apply. Now, another thing that's kind of embarrassing is that I somehow, after all these years, still don't have a how do split cards work video that I can point people to. So I'll go through some quick hits here that I think should cover most of the common questions. Anywhere except for the stack, the characteristics of a split card are the combined characteristics of both its halves. This means that you couldn't discard this card with Inquisition of Kozilek because its mana value is 5. You could get this card with Glittering Wish because it's both red and blue, and if you milled this card with Charmed Pendant, then you would get 2 black mana. On the stack, a split card only has the characteristics of the half that you're actually casting. Some split cards have a special mechanic that lets you cast both halves together, but none of the rooms have that, so for them, you have to choose just one. The choice of which half to cast is made before it moves onto the stack, and only the characteristics of that half are evaluated to see if it's legal for you to cast that spell. Therefore, you could not cast this spell into a Brazella because both its halves cost 3 or less. You could not counter Roaring Furnace with a Red Blast, but you could counter a Steaming Sauna, and if there's a Meddling Mage naming Surgical Suite, you can bypass that by casting Hospital Room. This is a bit of a spoiler, but paying to unlock a room that's on the battlefield doesn't count as casting a spell, so Meddling Mage wouldn't be able to stop that from happening either. Once a room is on the battlefield, actually, before I talk about that, maybe now is a good time to get some terminology straight, since we are going to be talking a lot about some of the stuff that's specific to these cards. The word room refers to the card, the whole thing, both halves of it. That's because room is a type of enchantment, just like equipment is a type of artifact or goblin is a type of creature. The term door refers to just one half of a room card, and I guess on paper that makes sense, except that when you think about the normal English meaning of the word room, I would say that an experimental lab should be a room, or a prop room. But no, when you destroy target room, you hit both of them. I guess when you get right down to it, it's only moderately less confusing than the fact that room was already an existing game term for a completely unrelated mechanic. Once a room is on the battlefield, it only has the characteristics of the half that was actually cast. And the way this is actually accomplished in the game rules is kind of interesting. The room permanent can have a left half unlocked and a right half unlocked designation. Without the appropriate unlocked designation, a room loses the name, mana cost, and rules text of that half. This is a text changing effect, which I'm sure has some really interesting consequences, but I couldn't think of any that were particularly noteworthy or non-intuitive, so good on Wizards of the Coast for coming up with that one. How do you get these designations? Well, if you cast a room spell, it will enter the battlefield with one of those designations already, according to whichever half was cast. To get the other one, its controller can pay the mana cost of the locked door and unlock that half. It's not clear to me how this would be possible, given what we just said about how a room does not have the mana cost of either door unless it already has that appropriate unlocked designation for that side, but I suppose it's clear enough how that's supposed to work that we should be fine hand-waving that objection away for now. Unlocking a door this way is not considered to be activating an ability or casting a spell. The official game term is taking a special action, which puts it in the same category as turning a morph face up or plotting a card from your hand. Like those other special actions, unlocking a door does not use the stack and it cannot be responded to. The cost that you pay to take this special action is called the unlock cost, and it can be affected by cost increasers and decreasers that specifically apply to this type of cost. The other way that you can get this designation is that some effects just say you can unlock a door. Likewise, some effects can lock a door, and that works exactly the way you're probably imagining, by taking away the unlocked designation corresponding to the half that's getting locked. If you lock a door like this, you can later unlock it in any of the normal ways, i.e. by paying the unlock cost or by using some effect that unlocks it. Some abilities trigger when you fully unlock a room. This means that you need to unlock both halves. In particular, if a door is currently unlocked, it is not possible to unlock that door again. This means that you can fully unlock a room only if you either unlock one half while the other half is already unlocked, or if you somehow manage to unlock both halves at the same time. Likewise, some abilities trigger when you unlock this door, and this trigger condition will be satisfied if that room gets the unlocked designation for the appropriate half. Whether it gets it from paying the unlock cost, or unlocking as part of an effect, or even as that room entering the battlefield due to that half being the one that was cast. One thing to note is that in this last case, the thing that's actually officially causing the ability to trigger is that room getting the unlocked designation, not the room entering the battlefield. This means that an Elish Norn could not get that ability to trigger an additional time. Next up, and I know you've all been waiting for this one, let's talk about copying rooms. If you're copying a room permanent on the battlefield, you don't get anything. By which I mean that designations are not part of a permanent's copyable information. So you will get a copy of the room permanent just fine, except that it won't have the name or the mana cost or the abilities of either side. It'll just be an enchantment-room with no name, no mana cost, and no abilities. But on the plus side, the existence of the locked doors is part of the copyable information, which means that you can unlock the doors of the copy, and that will work exactly as described previously. When you're copying a room spell on the stack, the situation is a little bit different. When you copy a spell, you copy all of the choices that were made when casting that spell, meaning that when the copy resolved and entered the battlefield, one door would be unlocked already, whichever half was originally cast. It would then be possible to unlock the other door as normal. Phew, that was a lot to go through. Let's cool down with some challenge questions to test your understanding. First up, Amy wants to unlock that Awakening Hall, but there's a suppression field out. And the answer to this is that suppression field does not apply to this at all. Remember, unlocking doors is a special action. Special actions are not activated abilities, so the 2 extra is not added to this cost. For the same reason, that suppression field wouldn't make it cost 2 extra for Amy to turn a face-down creature face-up either. Okay, well, what about this? Let's say that Amy controls a funeral room and she pays 8 mana to unlock Awakening Hall. Nick says he wants to disenchant that room in response. What happens? And here's where we see another consequence of the fact that paying to unlock a room is a special action. It does not use the stack and it cannot be responded to. The soonest chance Nick would have to cast that disenchant would be with the Mass Reanimate ability already on the stack, although I imagine Nick might be a little bit less interested in making that play given that information. Note that this is different from if Amy was unlocking the door via an ability, say from this Marina Vendrell. That is not a special action, that's just a normal activated ability. You can respond to those just fine. Because this is something that people tend to ask quite a bit, I'll mention what the fix would be if Nick tried to respond to Amy unlocking a door via a special action. At regular rel, I would inform Nick of how this works, and then I'd let him take back the disenchant. At competitive rel, I would do basically the same thing, but with a warning for Nick since he attempted to cast the disenchant at a time when he isn't legally allowed to. The official term for this infraction is a game rule violation, and there's no way I would endorse a fix where Nick would be held to the casting of that disenchant. Here's another one. Amy controls a fully unlocked Grand Entryway / Elegant Rotunda. She uses Marina Vendrell's ability to relock it. Does Nick know which half Amy is locking in time to cast a disenchant to stop Amy from getting the benefit from unlocking that door again? And the answer is no. With Marina's ability, you're just targeting the room. Any other decisions are made as that ability resolves. Amy therefore does not have to say which door of this room that she wants to affect or whether she's locking or unlocking until that time. After Marina's ability resolves, the active player gets priority. Since this ability is sorcery speed only, that probably means Amy. This means that she has the ability to take the special action of unlocking the room she just locked before Nick gets priority to cast spells of his own. Well, how about this? Amy wants to play this Roaring Furnace and kill Nick's Karoo Meerkat. Is that possible? The answer is yes. While on the battlefield, rooms have only the mana costs of the doors that are unlocked. Therefore, this one is red and not blue. Note that this would not work if Amy played the blue half and then wanted to unlock the red door. In that case, the ability would be considered to be a blue and red source, so it could not target a pro-red creature. Next up, Amy has a Serra Paragon. Can she use its ability to cast Roaring Furnace from her graveyard? Yes, when you're casting a split card, only the half that you're casting is evaluated to see if it can be cast. Given that you're casting the 2-mana door, this would be able to fit within what Serra Paragon's ability imposes, so that is allowed. Well, how about this? Amy plays Dance of the Manse for X = 2. Can she return Roaring Furnace to play? And no, in your graveyard, this card would have the mana cost of both its halves combined. This means its mana value is 7. If you wanted to return it, that's what X would have to be. Notice that if you did it this way, you would end up with a room on the battlefield with neither half unlocked. Then, since you didn't cast this spell, you wouldn't be able to get the normal one door unlock that you would if you had cast it normally. Now, let's say that you've done this and you have that 0 room in play, and Nick has an Engineered Explosives. Can he kill it with an NX for 0? And yes, he can. Remember that the mana value of the room on the battlefield is based off of which doors are unlocked. If none of them are, then the room will have no mana cost and therefore a mana value of 0. And one more really fun one to close things out. Amy has this room fully unlocked and she plays an opalescence. What are her room's characteristics? And to answer this, we'll go through all the layers step by step. In layer 3, there are no text changing effects because both of the doors are unlocked. In layer 4, the room will become an enchantment creature -room. And in layer 7, the power and toughness of this room will be set to 7/7 since that's what its mana value is. How auspicious. Hopefully this answers all of the questions that you had about this new type of enchantments. If there's anything I left out, leave a question in the comments and I'll try to get to as many as I can. That's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.